All right, hello and welcome back. As stated at the end of the previous video, the purpose of this next video is really to connect the Git that you installed on your computer with this GitHub account that you just created. Because right now they're separate, they have no way to kind of communicate with each other. And so how we're going to do this is we are going to do this entirely in RStudio. So, admittedly, the more common way of doing this is from the shell that we did to install Git. But, I mean, you know, I'm a statistician. The shell is kind of icky. RStudio is like a safe, nice, happy place. So, therefore, we're doing it in RStudio. And we're going to do it with this use this package. So, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install this package. So again, the package is called use this, and it has a few purposes actually, but the purpose that we're using it for is for the functions that it provides related to Git and GitHub. So you should be able to install that package. Just you could type install that packages in your console window. And give it a second. Alright, so it looks like everything went okay, but I'm going to type in the bottom left window, library, use this. Okay, so it doesn't give me an error, so I've now installed the use this package and loaded it in. And so the first thing we're going to do for with this use this package is we're going to use a function called use Git Config. And this is going to allow us to set our username, which mine was mhiam class. So you will have your own username, whatever you did on your GitHub account, and your user dot email. Let me widen this window a bit. There we go. And your user dot email, which you should set as whatever your email address was that you just set up with your GitHub account. So again, mine was my junk email address, but yours should be an email address that you're actually going to use. Okay, so that kind of sets your username and user email address. And the other thing we have to do now is to connect it to the GitHub site. And so the most common way to do this now is with a personal access token. And so again, in this use this package, there's this function create GitHub token. And so you should be able to run that. We're going to look at the output. It says it's a great idea to store this token in any password management software that you use, and that it's kind of prompting us to log on to our GitHub account site. So in the interest of privacy, where did that go? I'm going to pause the video for a second. Okay, so I paused the video for a second and I logged into my GitHub account and it's taking me here. So I'm pausing the video just because I don't want it to show anything sensitive since this video is going up on my YouTube channel. I don't really want my personal access token visible to everyone because the point is that it's kind of like a password. And so you should get to this screen. Just after you log in, it should take you directly here, and you can describe the purpose of the personal access token. So I'm going to say GitHub to RStudio is my purpose. It's just meant for you, so it's not anything in particular you have to type in there. capitalized. You could set the expiration. So I'm going to set no expiration and then get a warning that GitHub recommends that you set an expiration date for your token to help keep your information secure. So fine. I'm at least going to do it longer than 90 days though. Okay, so I'm going to do mine a year from now. All right, and so the rest of this stuff is, I don't think it matters which of these is checked, except for these, which are automatically checked. So I don't think, scrolling through them though, this just controls what RStudio will be allowed to do with that personal access token. And again, I'm just going to keep everything. So if you're following along with me, just not change anything. And I think, like, for example, if you wanted to delete a project or a repository, you wouldn't be able to do that on RStudio. You'd have to go into your GitHub account to do it if we let that be unchecked, which we will. Okay, so I'm going to pause this video again and generate my token. All right, so I have generated my token. My custom date range wasn't working, so I did change it to 90 days to generate it. But you should have generated that token. It should be some long mix of letters and numbers. You should have copied it, and it warns you once you exit that page, it will disappear. So it's not a huge deal to start this process over again with the creating the access token, but you'd have to do that if you lost it. And so you should have it pasted somewhere or in your clipboard copied. And so what we're going to do is use this credentials package to set this GitHub personal access token. So you should install this package called credentials. So I had already had it installed, so I just need to reinstall it. Load it with library, and the function that we're going to use in credentials is set GitHub, PAT, and in quotes you'll paste in the personal access token that you just copied. So again, I'm going to pause the video because I'm going to be pasting my personal access token right there, and I don't want it to be public, so I'm going to do a quick pause. All right, so I'm back now. So when I pasted in the personal access token and ran that line, it brought up another dialog box where I pasted the personal access token again, clicked OK, and so that's where I'm at right now. So you should have done the same. And the last thing that we're going to do is use this function from the use this package that's a situation report on the current your current Git and GitHub status. And so you should be able to type this in, use this git sitrep function, click enter, and you should see, I think the important things are your name and email that you set up before. Most of the rest of this doesn't matter, except you should see a personal access token for github.com discovered. And so that means that it found your personal access token. So your RStudio is now connected to your GitHub account, at least for 90 days when that personal access token is valid. And so there's some other stuff that we'll talk a little bit more about later. The other main thing is that the current project is not yet a Git repository, which means that we can't actually do anything quite yet. Okay, but that is a great place to stop. What we'll do in the next and final, or maybe second to last, depending on how long it gets, video, is create a GitHub repository, which you could really think about as like an R project almost, except for GitHub. And we'll kind of see, get a little bit of an introduction on what we could use Git and GitHub for.